We are continuing coverage of the flash flooding that impacted our area. After several days of heat and dry weather, things took a turn.
Yeah, several parts of Northwest Ohio dealing with the flooding aftermath after that heavy rain submerged some roads and neighborhoods, including the Oregon area.
In Port Clinton and on Kelleys Island, the WTOL 11 weather team says around 17 inches of rain came down, causing the flooding.
And we've got team coverage following the impact of the flooding on some of the hardest hit areas. Steve Iwanek, he was in Jerusalem Township. Faith Zochowski, she went out to Port Clinton, and Chief Meteorologist Chris Vickers breaking down some of the amounts that we saw hitting historical significance now that the rain has since left our area.
Well, we have a lot to get to here in the next half hour. Thanks for joining us here at 11. I'm Kaylee Maritek.
And I'm Jeff Smith. As we reset, a number of homes and farms in the eastern part of Lucas County, they were hit hard with all of that rain, including, as we said, Oregon and Jerusalem Township.
Steve Iwanek spent the day driving around and speaking to people who are dealing with it. Steve, these floods didn't just damage basements and driveways, it hit some farmers too.
And hit them hard, Kaylee and Jeff. For some, it meant flooded basements and blocked off roads. But for others, like one first-time fruit grower that I met today, it meant watching months of hard work disappear in a matter of hours. The rain has slowed, but across Oregon and Jerusalem Township, the water isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Flooded roads, submerged yards, and in the case of Jonathan Jellinger on Jerusalem Road, washed out crops.
This whole summer is practically shot. Yeah. A lot of time has been invested into, this small business, and it's completely ruined.
This was supposed to be the first year Jellinger sold watermelons, raspberries, and blueberries. Instead, he's watching months of work now go underwater.
Yeah, it's just so much that has been learned, and it feels like it was just completely thrown away.
A few miles west of him on Corduroy Road, Deb Hahn says she's been in her house 34 years and has never seen a flood like this.
When I looked outside and I saw that we had mini Lake Erie in the back, that's not so unusual. But when I looked out front, this is the first time we've ever had the water crossing the road. The storm drain is not even visible.
Overall, the WTOL weather team says the hardest hit areas in eastern Lucas County saw more than a foot of rain. That led to this. All day, police, fire, and crews checking on homes, surveying damage, and helping residents where they could.
I've lived here my whole life, never seen anything like this before. Probably the most unusual thing about today is that it has flooded in areas that we did not expect to flood.
So when the water starts to recede, homeowners are hoping the worst is behind them. But they may not know the full total of basements, fields, businesses, and homes for a while.
Your imagination can run wild with what you see.
Now, as of tonight, the floods have still caused some road closures to many of the eastbound routes in eastern Lucas County, especially along State Route 2. Oregon police say those include Cedar Point, Corduroy, Seaman, and Brown roads. And for a full list of closures, you can find them right now on our website, WTOL.com. In the newsroom, Steve Iwanek, WTOL 11.
Oregon wasn't the only area to see heavy flooding after that historic rainfall. Port Clinton neighbors also dealing with flooded streets and water in their basements.
Faith Zochowski was in Port Clinton today and has more on the cleanup and what city leaders say is being done.
Debbie and Dennis Tester spent their Monday evening doing this.
The neighbor's basement was flooded. And our garage was flooded, and their garage was flooded. So what we do is...
And the whole backyards are all flooded.
There's 4 backyards here that are all flooded.
Just down the street, this was Sharon Talker's view out her front window.
It came down so fast that I ran and got my son, and we had to move our cars. We got out to our cars, and the water was literally up to our door. And over here, we're getting it out of our basement. When I got down there, it was just under my knee.
Neighbors say this isn't even the deepest the water has been today, and many streets just in this neighborhood look just like this.
It was all the way up into right here where the mulch is, and it would send it up crashing against my house. And my flower beds and everything were covered with water.
Our weather team estimates the city of Port Clinton got nearly 5 inches of water over the last 2 days. On average, the city sees 3.5 inches of rain in the whole month of July. Neighbors in the area say flooding is no stranger.
This happens roughly maybe 3 times a month when it rains pretty rough and we get a consistent rain.
Mayor Mike Snyder told us on the phone it does happen in that area often. He says work is already underway for a $37 million infrastructure project to help address drainage and flooding issues in the city and fix roads damaged by repeated flooding. The mayor says city crews spent much of the day pumping water from flooded areas and says conditions improved by early this evening. Reporting in studio, Faith Zochowski, WTOL 11.
And that powerful storm dumped more than a foot of rain onto Kelleys Island, leaving behind serious flooding and damage that the island's mayor says he's never seen before. Mayor Ron Abar says crews already repaired some areas, including a section protecting the island's water line.
There's a stream that goes through. It's not always visible, but because of the amount of rain it gathers, and it washed out up to the road down there on West Lake Shore, which is kind of important because part of our infrastructure, our water line runs underneath that road, and we need to protect that.
The mayor says help is available for residents who need it. Well, this flash flood that soaked parts of our area is historic, and we want to emphasize just how unique these circumstances are.
That's why we're going to bring in Chief Meteorologist Chris Vickers once again for a look into just how rare an event like this is for Northwest Ohio. Chris?
Yeah, I think the numbers are just mind-boggling with this one. To wrap our head around 17 inches of rainfall that was reported out there toward the Lake Erie Islands is truly incredible. So here's the situation. What actually resulted in this is an area of low pressure that was focused right here across central parts of Ohio that resulted in a consistent spinning in the atmosphere. Now look at some of these rainfall totals. They were extremely and exceptionally heavy out towards some of the lakeshore areas, eastern Lucas County and Ottawa County, and also out there toward the Lake Erie Islands were two areas that we saw some of the more intense rainfall totals. The numbers Doppler radar estimated were truly incredible. Let's start in eastern Lucas County. We're going to look very close here. We had some areas out there towards State Route 2 reporting over about 13 inches of total precipitation. That is Doppler radar estimated. Look at eastern parts of Ottawa County and out there toward Kelleys Island. It was incredible that reports of over 17 inches of rain would have put this at a 1 in 1,000 year or greater rainfall event based on the intensity and the duration of that rainfall. So what is the state record for rainfall in 24 hours? It's actually 10.75 inches. That was back in 1995 in Shelby County. But here's the thing about this one. As we look deep at this map here full screen, we don't think that that record is actually going to be rewritten. The reason is there are no official reporting stations up there in Kelleys Island to actually verify the data. All the information that we had were personal weather stations, which by national weather standards may not be good enough to actually certify it as the state record. I'm going to go ahead and tell you on the record, though, we'll get nearly 17 inches of rain would be good for the state record if it could be verified. Temperatures right now low to mid 70s across the area. Doppler radar is finally quieted down. We don't have any rain to speak of across the area, and we will be dry the rest of the evening. In fact, the next couple of days will be dry. Look at highs in the mid 80s on Tuesday, upper 80s Wednesday, and then we will see some scattered shower and storm chances back as we get toward the end of the work week. But we do have a good 48 hours to dry things out for those areas that have been inundated by high water. I'll have more on my 10-day forecast coming up. Jeff, back over to you.
All right, Chris, we're going to do a little show and tell here at 11 o'clock. We have been getting photos and videos from you guys all day long. We wanted to kind of scroll through some of those and experience what we saw kind of play out as we went out there and as the viewers shared with us. Tiffany Lynn Fish crossing the road, Jerusalem Township, some of that video that you see right there. All right, the village of Kelleys Island sharing this with us as well, showing us some of those flooded yardways as we just take that sweeping shot, that drone footage. Reed Pardon showing us this flooded street, and obviously the big concern as well, a lot of basements and how that water was seeping into those homes. Kaylee?
Lots of good videos and photos we are getting from viewers. If you are sending those in, thank you. This is a good reminder to download our WTOL 11 weather app. Our weather team sends out updates for you on what to expect. It's available for free on your phone and tablet.